Coach, I guess 10 practices in the spring. Just what are your overall impressions of the defense so far?
You know what? You can see the guys growing. The guys that were here last year understanding the system, and obviously we changing the names and different things like that as far as what we're calling it. But you can see the growth. Each practice, and we're putting more on their plate because we're going from 4 down to 3 down, 3 down to 4 down, different things like that. And the guys that are new is all new to them. So doing some things to help them kind of learn the system a lot faster. But it's going good, going good.
We've seen the buck, I guess, in the last week or so. Just what do you want to get accomplished with that defense? Just what does that bring to the table?
Yeah, just trying to put some stress on the offenses that we see, so we could go from 4 down to our 3 down buck. We could stand landing up, whoever's at buck, Nico, he's at buck as well, and we could do some different things with the personnel that we have to put stress on offenses. So being able to go from 4 down to 3 down and to our Okie Mint stuff has been good for us. Just teaching it and learning it as far as our install.
Like Danico Slaughter is really taken over with the first team defense. I mean, what have you seen from him? Sam said he thought he's performing as good as any defensive back you guys have.
Yeah, no, Danico Slaughter, he has a cool calm about him. He's a veteran. He's played a lot of ball. His demeanor, he has an old demeanor as far as like he's a man. What he say, he means what he say what he mean. But he's the type of guy that's really smart, really smart. He comes in, he just loves ball. So the more and more he comes in and learn ball, you can see that it's showing on the field and his leadership skills as well. So happy that we have him.
Seems like Coach Woodson and Coach Wilson, work really well together on the field in practice. They're almost like the same person, it seems like. Well, what are your thoughts on them and that relationship?
Well, it starts off with the type of person they are, type of people they are. It starts off with that. Man, they just unbelievable people. In the way they teach their guys and love on their guys and the relationships they have in their room, and the guys respond to their coaching. You can coach them hard because they know you care about them, and Coach Wilson and Coach Woodson does a great job with that, with their group. So it's always fun to see those guys work together because it's two guys back there, and and a lot of times when you have two DB coaches, you never know, but the way they mesh together is awesome.
Just curious on your linebacker core, what you thought of the addition of Sorey and Brad Spence has taken a big step forward. Dean also, Sanford.
Yeah, so what's the fun thing about it is these guys are getting every rep to get better, to get better. So every guy that you name, Sorey's doing good. Dean is doing good. Spence is doing good. Alex is doing good. Henley has come along. Henley's done some really good stuff at practice, and Brooks Both is another one. But adding Sorey has been really good for us. His athletic ability and just being able to – he's a guy that played a lot of ball. The other guys haven't played because they were freshmen last year. They're going into their sophomore year. But now it's only reason people don't know about them because they haven't played. Doesn't mean they're not good enough. So it's been good to kind of see those guys grow, and the whole room is getting better. And like you said, Brad Spence is doing some really good things for us as well.
You view those guys kind of as interchangeable, or is one a better fit of the Will and one's a better fit of a Mike?
They're interchangeable because we do some different things defensively, and then what I like to do is have them do both so they can learn. So you won't just say, okay, you're a Mac and you're a Money. In the old days, they call it a Mike and a Will. We call it a Mac and a Money. So the more they can learn, the better. So now when we get into our dime package, when they in 10 personnel and maybe our Money has to go to Mac, he can understand exactly what he has to do. So I try to keep them moving around and having musical chairs. And you just never know. Injuries happen, different things, and you got to put – it's not – you want to put the best guy up next. Not okay. This guy's the 2 Money. And he's up next. Well, this two Mac may be better than the 2 Money, so you want to put him over there. So we try our best to kind of have those guys play both positions, so you can put the best guys on the field.
The way Spence is kind of working that wide 9 and also working at linebacker, do you see him as a guy that could possibly rack up a lot of sacks for you, maybe even lead you in sacks and tackles, maybe?
Wow, I'm just trying to get him to play. Yeah, that's a great question. You said lead in sacks and tackles, but I'm just trying to get him to line. He could do so many different things well, but at the same time, for me, what I did was I said, okay, he can play the buck, he could play the Money, he could play the Mac, he could play the Sam Backer. He's played all of those, but then you sit back, you say, okay, let's put him at one position and let him go ahead and learn this. And then now we could put him over there in some different situations. But, man, he's still learning. He's still growing. If he happens to lead the team in sacks and tackles, that's awesome. But I'm just getting him lined up right now.
mentioned Brooks both. Harrison's one of the papers I have. Can you? I know he's helped on special teams. Do you see him maybe getting some linebacker reps this year? Or what kind of chance?
Yeah,
he
so I mean, he first of all, Coach Fountain loves him on special teams. He does a really good job on special teams. He's a very, very smart defensive player. He's a guy that we could put at the MAC in the money. He's a guy that loves this university. He's been here a long time. He knows it inside out. He's a guy that we trust on the field. He's earned that right. He's really doing a really good job for us.
And then the defensive tackles, the interior defensive line. Talk about them, how they're coming along. I know you have probably 4 you feel good about there, don't you?
Yeah, so I would start out with Cam Ball. I think Cam is doing a really good job this spring. I think he's taking his game to another level. And Coach Adams does a really good job with the whole front 4, coaching those guys and getting those guys prepared. And you can see the growth. You can see the growth from last year. Start with Cam Ball. And Ed Gregory is a seasoned vet. He's a guy that's played a lot of ball. He's an athletic defensive tackle for us as well, and he can hold a point. So very pleased by those guys. You got Ian Griffard as well. You know, he's I think 380-something pounds. He's a big, massive guy that's hard to move, and he's continued to grow in that position as well. And we got so many different guys. We put Caleb James inside as well. And I'm trying not to forget anybody, but the interior, Coach Adams does a really, really good job with those guys, getting them prepared. And in this league, in any league, but especially the SEC, it starts up front, you know, with the whole front. So we could do some different things. We talked about Ian Griffard just putting 380 over the center and getting into some 3-4 stuff and just telling them, okay, you don't have to think about nothing. You just go straight ahead and blow the center back. That helps guys like that. But you can see the growth with the whole group.
Trino told us on Tuesday he has slowed install down a little bit this week. Where are you guys and where you want to get to in terms of installation? Have you slowed down some?
Yes, it's pretty much in. We just got some different situational stuff, but as far as the install, it's pretty much in. Now we slowed down, and now we can say, because you're going from 4 down to 3 down to you doing some different things, and it gets taxing on the guys as far as just learning. So now you just slow it down and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do this week. We pretty much have it in. Got some 3rd down stuff that we're still putting in, some 3rd down, but for the base calls we're pretty much good, and we got some short yardage stuff that we got to put in, but for the most part it's in.
Question, but scrimmage was 2 practices ago. I wanted to get your thoughts on what you thought of the first scrimmage, and then for Saturday, what you want to see on Saturday.
Yeah, so I think first what we got to get better at, I start with that. We have to do a better job tackling. We got to do a better job running our feet on tackling. We have big backs, so you can't arm tackle those guys. You got to put your body on them, and you got to run your feet. I would say that's the main thing we got out of that is just the tackling. Didn't say it was bad, but we could be better. We could be better at tackling. And you could see in the situationals, we did some really good stuff situational. Because I think the first drive they went down there and they scored. Went down and scored. It was a miscommunication. It was a great offensive play, and then from there we got our feet in the ground and got calmed down. But the tackling, the yards after contact is what we have to fix, and that's what we've been focusing on, just tackling. Because like I said, we got big backs. We got SEC style backs where you stick your arm out now, you'll pull back a nub, you take your arm off. So you gotta put your body on them.
And team and 7-on-7 from what we saw today. What was your thought on the competition today?
Oh, it's always great competition. Our offense is doing some great things, and Coach Positional is doing a great job with our offense as well. And in 7-on-7 is always a lot of reps that we get in 7-on-7, and we need it for our quarterbacks. Because we evaluating quarterbacks. We need it for the back end with DBs and receivers. So we need those reps. So it's always good. It's good to get those reps. And team, we did some good stuff. Team offense did some good stuff. So we'll go back and watch the film. And it's times where may or may not be a sack, and we continue to let it play. But our offense is doing some really, really good things, and Coach Petrino is doing some really good things.
Quite a few freshmen early enrollees y'all brought in. Just what are some of the early challenges, whenever you bring those guys in, and any of those that you've seen maybe take a lot of strides through these practices?
You know what? I really do think all of our freshmen are doing a really good job. You start in the secondary. If I get the naming all of them, I forget someone, so I'm not going to name anyone. I think all of the freshmen have been a really, really good hit for us. Really, really good smart players, tough. We got some length back there. We have some quickness. We have some toughness. So I think we did a really good job bringing those guys in, and then we have some guys on the defensive line that's doing really good for us, and we brought a linebacker in as well. Obviously, all these guys, they haven't even been to their prom yet, so their head is spinning, but you can see the athletic ability, you can see the talent there with all of the freshmen that we have. So I'm very pleased by the freshmen that we have.
Just on the topic of youth, I think 7 of your 9 linebackers, scholarship linebackers, are first or second year players. Is there any need or desire maybe to look to the portal, maybe get a veteran guy there to boost that room?
Right now, I'm just focused on getting those guys better, and then once the portal open, we'll kind of think about that or see if we do go in the portal or do not go in the portal. What I do think about these guys that were freshmen, there was 3 freshmen last year that are getting a chance to get every snap, and you can see exactly what they can do, and very pleased by where they're at right now.
To the other side of the ball with Taylon Green, I was curious your thoughts on the challenges that he brings with his legs, and just he's got obviously some experience from Boise too.
Really, I think he's a really good football player. I think before we even get to the football, I think he's a good person. I think he's a good young man. I think he's a leader, and he doesn't have to say anything. You can just watch it. He's doing stuff on his own. He's always coming up, and he's meeting on his own with Coach Petrino. He has a pro type of mentality, the way he goes about his business, and he's a good person. He's a good person. Let's just start there, and then once you go on the field, you see him. He runs like a gazelle. Like he can run, and he's throwing the ball, and he's got some accuracy with his throws, and I'm glad he's on our team. But it starts with the person that he is and the work ethic that he has. So very pleased by what I see out of him.
You talked about Slaughter earlier, but what about your other 2 transfer defensive backs? Just what have you liked from them and how they've adjusted?
Yeah, both. Cuddy is doing really good for us. He's at the corner position, and then Miguel is at safety. Both of those guys, all 3 of those guys, was a hit for us in the secondary, and I'm glad that we got them. And because once you go into the portal, you don't know. You watch the film, and you really don't know what you're getting as far as character-wise. And because, like, in high school, you're able to do your homework. You're able to get them on campus. You're able to sit down with the family. When you go in the portal, you really don't know. And all 3 of those guys have the right mentality of toughness. And all 3 of those guys sit in the front row. They sit in the front row, and that's just the way they go about their business.
And Nico on the defensive line, just how have you seen him grow now that he's kind of getting his opportunity?
You're talking about a guy that took, like, huge steps. He's doing really good for us. He's a guy that's flashing, and in his eyes, it's his time now. He's doing some really good stuff for us, and comes with great energy. And we ask those defensive end bucks to do a lot. You can't. It's not one of them deals where you're just rushing every time. You got to drop. You got to do some different things, and Nico is doing some really good stuff.
Jaheim Singletary was a guy we saw a lot early last year, then maybe not as much late. Kind of what areas are of focus for him this spring, and how is he coming along in those areas?
You know what? So we call him Slim, but Jaheim and Keon has actually took their game up to another level as far as the sense of urgency. And you'll hear Coach Wilson and Coach Woodson talk about the money phase when the ball is in the air, or when you get in a dig route and you see the ball is being thrown, like the money phase of getting the ball out. And that's just that competing at the top of the route that we call the money phase. But I could see Jaheim, he's taking his game to another level as far as the sense of urgency that's there with him and Keon.
And Landon Jackson, how big of a boost was it? Like, how happy were you that he decided to come back, and kind of where could he maybe take his game to the next level?
Yeah, very happy he came back. You get an all-SEC guy that comes back, and the way he goes, but he's a pro. He's a guy that goes about his business the right way. He's getting married Saturday. Like, he's like grown. So he's getting married Saturday. You'll see him when he's going over the bags. If he hit a bag before you say, go back, he's going back on his own. And he just has that mentality that he wants to get better. He's watching a lot of film on his own. He's coming in there and just getting the technique things down with Coach Adams. And that's what you want out of a guy like that, because everybody's looking at him. He's all SEC. So, the leadership, by him being a good player, guys going to listen and follow him, and they follow his lead as far as what he's doing, and he's lead by his example and his actions.
Quincy behind him, younger guy, kind of in this similar size and everything. How beneficial is it to him to have a guy like Landon ahead of him, and what have you seen in Quincy's development?
Quincy is very talented. He's very talented. If you look at his numbers in the weight room, it's just unreal. And it's really good for him to be behind Landon and watch Landon and watch the way he works, because I think Quincy has a bright future. Quincy could be as good as he wants to be. I mean, he has that type of talent. And for him to be able to see Landon and see how he can go, not even the talent, just how you go about your business at work. You know, how do you have your notebook and your pen and paper and everything? How you locked in on Coach Adams and how you coming in on your own and watching film on your own. The different things that you can learn from a veteran is going to be really big for Quincy.
Last Saturday, offense scored quick, first couple possessions. Defense seemed to get stronger and stronger, 1 and the 2 minute stuff. What you looking for this Saturday in the scrimmage from defense?
Yeah, so it won't be a scrimmage. We'll have situations where it's tackling, you know, and just like they want to score, we want to stop them. Now you're installing, so it's not like offense versus defense. It is, but you want to install so you won't get into like, okay, you're trying to scheme against each other, but we don't want them to score, right? So we want to stop that. But this Saturday is going to be more situations, and whatever that situation is, we want to win the situation.
You guys have had conversation about who gets the microphone in the helmet. Is Sori in that conversation? What are your thoughts about that and how it's going to work?
Well, I don't know who's going to have whoever the starting line. You're assuming that he's going to start. Yeah, whoever the starting linebacker is going to have the mic in his helmet. It could be a safety, you know. It could be a safety. We don't know who is going to be as far as having it. And I don't know how I feel. Like the thing is, in the NFL, they huddle up. So you could talk on the mic and you can make a call in offense. If they going fast, you're gonna have to signal. You just don't have enough. You just don't have enough time. Now, if everybody had the mic or whatever, the speaker in their helmet, then you could do it. But the teams you're gonna see, I would imagine if teams are using the mic, you're gonna see offenses going like warp speed fast to make you signal. And I don't know how I feel about it. You know, now if everybody was huddling or if everybody had the microphone or whatever, your speaker in their helmet, then you could use it. But all offenses they're gonna go warp speed fast, and you still gonna have to signal.
What do you like about what you've seen from Sori?
Very athletic, very athletic. You know what? He's such a good person. Like he's so happy to be here. He's so humbled to be here. No sir, yes sir. You know, he gets to the ball. He's athletic. So you'll see him getting better and better each practice, and I'm glad we got him.
How that relationship developed. I think he said he knew you from Auburn when he was being recruited and stuff. Just how did that unfold with him landing at Arkansas?
Yeah, when I was at Auburn, I recruited him like heavy, and it came down to me and Glenn Schumann, that's at Georgia. Both of us was recruiting him, and I know his whole family, and so when he was in the portal, I already knew like kind of what I was getting. So a lot of times when you're in the portal, like you said, you don't know the parents, you don't know nothing. But I knew I was getting a very athletic player, knew I was getting a good person. Now we had to battle for him because everybody in America wanted him. I'm glad we got him. But, you kind of, when you have that prior relationship, that's the one good thing about the portal. You can recruit guys, and if you don't get them the first time around, you get them the second time around, and you already have that background.
A couple weeks, but after spring is over, you've always jumped right in, I guess, to the contact period and stuff for recruiting, but it's also the portal on top of it. I mean, what is that like as an assistant coach? Just you're on the road recruiting, you got to find portal guys, you got to worry about your own team and stuff. It's just so different these last few years.
Right. Yeah, it's different. I want to recruit the guys that's obviously we want to recruit the guys that are here. We don't want to lose a guy. And obviously somebody may leave. That's just the nature of the beast. But we don't want to lose a guy. And then if we're going to get additions to our roster, we got to get them on. As soon as they hit the portal, we got to try to get them on campus first. You know, you may want to try to go see them because it is a contact period. Then you have to get your schedule for the high school guys as far as going out doing spring recruiting. So it's a lot of moving parts. And you just got to be ready to jump on the flight and do different things. But it's part of it. Like, you could complain about it and be a dinosaur, or you can adjust. So I plan to adjust to it.
It's like rely on the recruiting department in a big way. It's like, hey, where am I supposed to be today? Or is it?
Are you doing it? So Javon Hubbard, he does a really good job with our recruiting department, and we rely on them. You know, and Coach Pittman has done a great job of hiring guys in that department, and they already had the schedule. It's very organized, so we know. It's very organized, and it's a lot of last-minute things because things happen at the last minute, but it's very organized, starting with what Hub does in his department. So when it first happened, it was like, oh, it's a lot of moving parts, and it happens fast. But now it's a few years in, the department knows exactly what to do, and we have a really good department that gets us ready for that.
Thanks, Coach.
Good. Oh, awesome. Go Hogs.